All right, so let's talk about my investments. Um, Anything I've wanted to invest with in the past, I realized something probably 10, 12 years ago, I don't know, that everything I wanted to invest in, everything I talked about with people, all these crazy ideas I had that I thought were great, everybody told me, don't do that. It's a bad idea. You shouldn't invest in that. You're going to lose money. So I didn't. Um, and from listening to them, I lost money. Well, I didn't lose money because I didn't invest. But I missed out on some potential money that I could have made if I would have invested. And so I decided at some point to start listening to my gut. Um, so I used to collect comic books with my grandpa when I was a kid. And he got me really into that. And before these Avenger movies were coming out and everything, I thought, this is a good time to buy some old comics. All the first editions, the first appearance origins, Amazing Fantasy 14, first appearances of Spider-Man, the Avengers, all of the Avengers characters' first appearances, X-Men's first appearances. I was really into the Marvel stuff, not as much of the DC. I wasn't a DC guy, so sorry everybody. I liked a lot of the Image comics too. It was about early to mid 90s. I collected a lot of comics, so I have all those first editions from that time of like Image and Valiant Comics and all that whatnot. But anyways, so I thought, maybe it'd be good to invest in comic books. Everybody's starting to get into these. They're starting to talk about these movies coming out and all of that. So I went out and I spent, I don't know what I spent. Probably about 15,000 in comics. I think my wife thought I was nuts. She thought I was just absolutely crazy, But you buy a Spider-Man #1 just in ragged condition, just beat up, right? Like, and for $4,000, and you're buying all these old ragged beat up comics for $2, $3, $4,000 each. Most of them were probably about 1,000 to 2,000 that I bought. Some 2,500, but the first Spider-Mans were the most expensive. So I held on to them for a few years. Got about 15 grand, and all these Avengers movies are coming out like crazy, and I'm like, all right, now that they got a few of these movies out, all these characters' movies are out, let's sell them, see what we can get. So, well, I'll go back. Before we did that, my job at the time, I worked at a place called A123 Systems. We design electric vehicle battery packs for electric, hybrid electric vehicles. That was a great job and great place to work, man. And but they were filing bankruptcy, so it wasn't that great after that. So with the bankruptcy, I got a little worried, so I sold a couple of them, which I wish I didn't do, but I did. But right after I found a new job, right after that bankruptcy, got the new job, bought a couple more, bought them back, bought a couple other ones. So again, still at about the 15 grand into the comic books mark. And I says, okay, it's about time. These Marvel comics, these movies are big. This stuff is worldwide now, even though comics used to be kind of an American thing. They were around the rest of the world too, but just not as big. There's the nostalgia. Older guys are going to buy these comics up because they can afford it now. They're retiring. It's stuff they wanted since they were kids. So these guys are willing to buy these things up at big money. There's a huge demand because of the movies. But the nostalgia is going to be gone pretty soon because kids today, not as many are growing up on the comics. They don't have a grandpa they were collecting them with and all of that. So, and the movies are a fad. So I offloaded my comics, probably doubled my money, so I took home about 34,000 after the comics. Oh, somebody's calling me. Let me quit this. So I took home about 34,000. I think it was about 34,000 after the comics that I sold them. So I was like, that's a great investment. People told me I was crazy and I was an idiot, and I just followed my gut and I made some good money on it. So one of my next investments, I wanted to buy a bunch of silver and gold before the collapse, and everybody told me I was stupid. Don't do that. Those things are always lost people money. And if I would have bought them when I wanted to, I would have made a killing. I would have quadrupled my money. And yeah, so I was really bummed about that. So I did buy some while stuff was high, and it had tanked pretty good after that because I waited because I listened to people again. And so there you go. Another one of those lessons I learned. But since then, I've followed the precious metals markets, and every now and then when the prices dip, I'll buy a stack of it, and the prices always end up going back up. There's a range that they fluctuate between. You don't make a killing, but you make pretty good money. You know, at least over every year and a half, you're going to do better than the market most of the time. Yeah, so now I buy and sell every year and a half, whatever. If I miss it, I'll just hold it for longer, and it becomes an investment where I didn't do as good as the market would have got me. But it's not just sitting there in a bank losing money, so I'm happy about that too. So I do the precious metals. It's fun. I like I'll buy physical a lot of the time. Keep it in a safety deposit box so don't think about robbing me. But I will go grab it, keep a little bit with me or something sometimes. It's nice to actually hold the money, hold something of real value. Maybe you think it has no real value, and maybe you're right. If everything collapses, I'm not going to eat gold and I'm not going to eat silver. But it's always been a medium of trade historically since the beginning of what anybody can remember. So, yeah, there's that. Some of the other investments. Let's see. Property. I bought property young. Again, saving a lot of my money, just investing it. Me and my brother, we bought a property up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan back in our early to mid 20s. It was about 24, I think, maybe 25. Bought a 10-acre property up there, built a little cabin, designed it up, built it, and it was really cool. We had it for a long time. Again, unfortunately, property values didn't go up after that with the collapse, everything that happened in 2008. We didn't make anything off of it, but really what matters to me in life is the memories, spending time with people you care about and making memories. And we got a lot of great memories up there, up in the UP. It's a beautiful place. If while I'm talking about this, I'll probably post some video and some pictures while I'm talking about this, so you don't got to look at my ugly face and you can actually see something pretty cool. So we had that. We made a little bit. Well, actually, we didn't make any money on it because we built that cabin and we just sold it for what the extra cost was for the cabin. But we sold that because we found another property that was on a river. It's on the Michigamme River up there in the UP. And if you look through some of my other videos, I'll post them, or I'll post links to them up in I don't know how to do that yet, but when I figure it out, you'll see where there's links posted. I'm winging this channel. I'm winging it big time. These are my first videos, so I'm going to figure out YouTube as I go along. And I don't expect anybody to watch this stuff anyways, because why would they? But I'll have good memories for my family to watch if YouTube still exists when I'm older. So properties anyway, we got this beautiful place up in the UP of Michigan right now, and part of it going on with us moving to North Carolina is it does cost a lot with taxes being non-homestead. Even between me and my brother, it's still $1,500 a month that we got to split for the yearly taxes, the maintenance. It's a 9-hour drive away, so we only get up there a couple times a year, but we like to do other vacations too. We're just never really happy. I don't know what to say. No, we're always happy, and I appreciate everything I have, and I always try and think about how good I have it relative to a lot of people. I'm pretty darn blessed. But I do like to experience different things. And okay, so we discussed all the past investments. I didn't even talk about all of the properties that I had bought and sold, or maybe still have. But we can get into some more of that stuff later. There's a lot of stuff to talk about as far as on the investment side, between the comics, property, precious metals, stocks, investing, holding, trading. People buy things and flip them on Craigslist. There's so many different things, ways to invest your money. People buy watches, artwork. You have to know those markets, and you really have to love that stuff to really do those as investments. That's kind of why I got into comics. I really loved comics and the memories it brought. So it was really nice. But one of the things I want to talk about with the investing philosophy I have is, while you're investing, you don't want to just be poor your whole life, kind of just saving for one day in the future. You want to enjoy your life you want to enjoy the ride. So what I'm going to talk about in the next video is investing in materials or memories. That might be both. It might just be one or the other. But I'm going to talk about that in a little bit in the next video. So what do they say? Obliterate that
like button or whatever, and go ahead and subscribe if you want to watch some of these videos. Again, I hope you guys you get something out of this. I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on some of the things too. Give me some ideas of things that maybe could be really cool investment ideas that are out of the norm. But thanks, and I'll see you again soon.